Something incredible happened today. Deep inside an old American junkyard, hidden under years of dust, rust, and forgotten metal, we discovered something special. At first glance, it looked like nothing more than another abandoned car. But as we got closer, the shape became familiar. Under all that rust was a legendary machine. A 1969 Ford Mustang. One of the most iconic American muscle cars ever built. But this one had clearly been sitting here for years. The body was covered in rust. The tires were completely flat, and the paint had almost disappeared under layers of dirt. Most people would walk away from a car in this condition. But not today. Because today, we're bringing this Mustang back to life. When we opened the door, a cloud of dust filled the air. The interior looked like time had completely taken over. The seats were torn. The dashboard was cracked. And the steering wheel felt frozen in place. It was hard to imagine that this was once a powerful American muscle car. But the real surprise was waiting under the hood. Slowly, we lifted it. And what we saw looked even worse than expected. The engine was covered in rust. Wires were broken. Hoses had dried and cracked after years of neglect. For a moment, it felt impossible. But every great restoration begins the same way. Cleaning. Using a high-pressure washer, we began removing years of dirt and grime from the body. Slowly, the real shape of the Mustang started to appear again. Under the rust and dust, the original lines of the car were still there. The aggressive front grille, the long muscular hood, the unmistakable stance of a true American muscle car. Next came the wheels. Each wheel was completely rusted and barely able to move. Carefully, we removed them and started restoring the suspension and brakes. But the biggest challenge was still ahead. The engine. We carefully lifted the old engine out of the car and placed it on the workbench. Piece by piece, every component was disassembled. Rusty bolts were removed. Damaged parts were replaced. And every piece was cleaned and inspected. This process takes time, patience, and a lot of determination. Slowly, the engine started to look alive again. New pistons were installed. Fresh components replaced the damaged ones. And bolt by bolt, the Mustang's heart was rebuilt. While the engine was being restored, the body of the car also needed serious work. Years of rust had damaged several panels. Using sanding tools, we carefully removed every layer of corrosion. Then came welding. Bright sparks filled the garage as damaged metal was repaired. Little by little, the Mustang began to look whole again. But the real transformation was still ahead. Painting. Inside the paint booth, the car received a fresh coat of deep glossy red paint. Layer by layer, the surface became smoother and more beautiful. Under the workshop lights, the car looked completely different. The rust was gone. The damage had disappeared. And the Mustang's legendary style was finally returning. Now it was time to bring everything together. The rebuilt engine was carefully installed back into the car. New wheels were mounted. Restored headlights were installed. And the interior was completely cleaned and refreshed. After days of work, only one question remained. Would it start? This was the moment of truth. Sitting in the driver's seat, we turned the key. For a second, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the engine roared to life. The sound of the Mustang filled the garage like thunder. After years of silence, this legendary muscle car was alive again. But the best part was still waiting. The final reveal. Slowly, the garage door opened. The sunlight reflected off the freshly painted red body. The same car that once looked like junkyard scrap now looked like a true American legend again. A fully restored 1969 Ford Mustang. From rust and abandonment to power and beauty. And that is the magic of restoration. Turning something forgotten into something unforgettable.